last year they ranked 32nd out of 32 teams, right? The NFLPA report card is a series of questions asked to players about how they feel the organization is doing. And I'll just read a bit here. I tweeted this out. It's all over. People can find it. The overview. After finishing last for 2 consecutive years, the Washington Commanders surged to 11th overall. The Commanders' improved rating reflects how meaningful improvements to players' daily experience can be achieved, even with physical facility limitations.
Yeah.
Key to the turnaround was the hiring of Dan Quinn, who finished the season as the number 1 ranked head coach across the league. Additionally, the team invested in the food program, improving their grade from a D+ to a B+. They also increased the frequency of family events.
I can vouch for that one.
Yeah. I mean, dude, we can too. Just they're feeding the media. They also increased the frequency of family events and began providing daycare during home games, which boosted their grade for treatment of families, rising from an F- to a B+. The improvement in team travel is notable, with 95% of players reporting comfortable personal space on flights, up from just 50% last year. The team's strength coaches deserve special recognition for maintaining an A rating year after year. Nabes and Chad, that is all those guys. They do a hell of a job. The facility itself remains a major issue. The building is old and in need of major renovation. Players single out the locker room as the area that needs attention. When asked what the team does best, the most consistent response is clear. They are positively changing the culture, and it shows both in the survey results and on the field. I mean, I've seen a lot of this personally, like the family room they've created. I saw, I know it was St. Juice had a baby. I want to say in the middle of August, like during training camp, they had a little baby, and I saw his wife when she brought the baby to the first game, and she kind of got like caught up in this no man's land. You know where like the suite holder entrance is, and a lot of the suite holders are waiting for those elevators by the kind of where the big solar powered guy is. You know that entrance I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And that's a significant bottleneck right there that I imagine they're trying to address. And she was kind of stuck there, and I knew where she was trying to get to, and I was able to like show her where the family room was. And that was just something that didn't exist. Like if you brought a little baby, there just wasn't a family room. You know, you just sat in the stands with a baby, and stuff like that has become commonplace across the league, and Washington just didn't have it and didn't seem interested. And now they have it and they're interested.
Yeah.
The food stuff, the training stuff.
The last thing you want is having a player's wife pissed off that you didn't make it comfortable for him.
Totally.
That's the last thing you want.
You know what adds aggravation to your life? And it doesn't matter if you're a plumber or a lawyer or a football coach or an accountant. When your wife's pissed off.
Yeah.
It doesn't help, man.
That don't help at all.
It doesn't help anything.
That makes things worse.
Yeah, dude. So
you think that player came to work and didn't seem like he was there yesterday? Wait till that happens.
Right, dude. So I think you could specifically, the only real, I don't even want to say bad grades, but where they ranked poorly were the locker room was an F, and that's about the physical structure.
Yeah.
Honestly, that feels like kind of a rough F. Like I recognize there are some really dope locker rooms. The locker room's just not that big. Like there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, it's not big and it's just plain, Jay.
Yeah.
So and that's nothing that they can actually do at this present time. If they were to try to just, I mean, you can paint it a different color. You can do something else but it's what it is. Kind of hard to really change the structure of it. So, I mean, moving forward, they can get something done by that. But I think at this point, they just stuck with that. And that's something they inherited.
Yeah, and I think what's crazy is as college football situations have gotten so out of control, like the locker rooms for some of these major college football programs are unbelievable. And so if that's your expectation coming into the pros and then you walk into the Ashburn facility, I kind of get it.
Yeah, when I first got here over at that other place, I was like, what the hell is this? But we won.
Right. The two that stand out the most to me be ownership specifically, and they got an A rating, 8th out of 32 teams. I mean, this was this couldn't be more different, right?
Yeah.
I'll just read the comments. Owner Josh Harris's average rating for perceived willingness to invest in the facilities is 9.24 out of 10 from the Commanders players, a ranking of 10 out of 32 owners in the league. The players feel that Harris significantly contributes to a positive team culture, a rank of 4 out of 32. The players feel that Harris is extremely committed to building a competitive team, a rank of 4 of the 32 NFL owners.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want, man. You got committed ownership and the players feel it. It's hard to do much better than that.
Yeah.
And somebody pointed this out to me last night. If the Philadelphia 76ers are terrible, right? Embiid is they got problems.
They got problems with their best player not wanting to play.
Right. But every year, the Sixers are pressing the gas to try to become an actual title contender.
Yeah.
Now, they've made mistakes, and Embiid is Embiid, and that whole situation is just uniquely NBA to me. But somebody pointed this out to me last night. Harris is a press the gas, try to win guy. And I think we've said it enough now about people that think that Peters isn't being aggressive enough. Harris is an aggressive guy, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, let's see how things play out. This, though, to me, Brian, stands out the most from the NFLPA report card, and it's an A+ first out of 32 teams grade for Dan Quinn.
Oh, yeah.
I'll read this now. 100% of Commanders players feel their head coach, Dan Quinn, is efficient with their time. He is one of 6 coaches across the league to receive a perfect score. The players feel that Quinn is highly receptive to locker room feedback on the team's needs, ranking him 1 of 32 head coaches in the league. I think
if you have a coach who basically will let you know that he cares about you and your time, that coach then has the right to push you, because you don't care at that point because you know he's not trying to do something wrong. But some of these coaches want to dictate and tell you everything and you don't want to listen to nothing you say. That's the quickest way to lose a team.
I think totally. And veteran players said it throughout the year. Zach Ertz at the end of the year said, I've never felt like a coach cared about me more.
Yeah.
And you take care of your veterans.
That matters.
Dude, you take care of the vets. You give them days off. I think one of the smartest things they did on Thursdays, they have a standard week, Sunday 1:00 game. Wednesday's typically your longest day, and then Thursday tightens up a bit, and then Friday is short. Well, they added this mandatory recovery period on Thursdays. And so it oddly made the day a little longer for the media. But we all know this, right? If we're given the opportunity of leaving and going home, say it's a damn Odyssey, we can leave and go home, or we're allowed to chill out on the couches and hang out. Everybody's going to leave and go home.
Yeah.
But if you build a schedule around it where there's mandatory hangout here time, and then meetings are after that, basically once meetings are over, guys can get out of there.
Yeah.
But if the meetings aren't until after that, they're going to do it. And then they have they've invested all this money into recovery. I don't even know what the stuff is. Hoffman could tell you, cryotherapy and all these different
cryo, all that different things, all those different things over there. But you know what? You just gotta. The thing of it is, you want to make your facility so good that the guys don't want to leave. Because what happens in that situation, when guys are around each other more, they talk more. You get a better feel of each other, and then all the stuff on the field, it enhances that even more. But if guys can just go and the facility is awful and they don't want to be around, they keep leaving and they go away, you lose a little bit. And all those guys said they love being around each other. They started hanging more with groups. You've been through a stretch where, man, they went in every direction they could go to get away from each other.
Totally.
So what Dan has done, and the way that what Adam and Josh and all those people are doing, is making guys come closer together. And I know a lot of people don't think it makes a difference, but that family and that mindset of believing that we are family, that makes a world of difference on the football team. Basketball teams too.
Any team.
Yeah.
It really stands out to me. If you go back a year in time, Dan Quinn was a retread. How can you hire a defensive guy? Like, there was just the conversation in the city when they made that decision versus now he's just been voted by his players to be the best coach in the league.
Yeah. Because, people like to go with narratives instead of really digging down and finding out what the hell's really going on.
It's and it doesn't matter now.
Yeah. At all.
He has been great. He is a true culture builder. But the difference with the notion of a player's coach versus the reality of what a player's coach can be doesn't mean you just let the guys do whatever they want. It's instilling discipline at the same time.
When you hear player's coach, all people hear is player. So that normally means to a person that, you know what, he leans toward everything the player wants. You don't hear as the second part of it, coach. Player's coach is a guy who understands how to get the best out of the player. Some of these coaches that are not considered player coaches, you know why? Because they don't listen to them. And if you're not listening to me, you may have the easiest stuff going on over there. But if you listen to nothing we say, we're going to be separated. We're not going to think the same. So you're not considered a player's coach, and your practices are easy as hell. But the guy that's pushing the hell out of me, he's considered a player's coach because he listens. Like I did a little thing for my teacher this morning from 9th grade. And I got emotional about it because that was the teacher that caught me at 14 when I was probably going to go the wrong way or the right way. And she got me on track, And I was talking about that and it made me realize so much like, okay, this woman was hard as hell on me. Why am I so emotional about her? Because if she hadn't done what she did, I'm not talking to y'all right now. I might be dead some damn well. So yeah. It's the person that gets you on track to how you become your best. And that's why Dan is considered a player coach. Because he, like Zach said, he allows them to be fresh. He gives them time to rejuvenate. He pushes the hell out of them. But they know he cares. And that mere fact right there is what it takes for guys to be looking at you as a player's coach and not necessarily a player pushover.
Totally. How about this, man? I'm going to read this. So I just posted Dan Quinn voted top coach in the NFL by his players. Remember how folks reacted to this hire. And a lot of people are responding, B. My guy Brandon said he wasn't my first choice initially, but I'm so glad we got him. Love the man and the coach.
I respect that, Brandon.
Yo, we both know this dude, Boy Genius, who's always causing trouble on the internet.
Yeah.
Boy Genius said that pic someone posted and went viral of DQ in an ill-fitting suit waiting in line at the airport in D.C. for his interview was so damn sad and disappointing for us fans. We ridiculed his J's and backwards hats. We apologize, DQ.
All right.
Yeah.
People can, say something and then come back and say, you know what, I changed my mind. That's allowed. But the ones that want to double down, don't understand them.
Right. Tischler just put together a cool little graphic side by side of the report cards from 24 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
Treatment of families went from F- to B+. Food and dining went from D+ to B+. Nutrition and diet's the only thing that went down, and I'm kind of curious by that. Maybe we'll actually read that. Nutrition and diet went from B- to C+. And I
remember you brought a lot of
there.
people in here from different teams. You brought 30 plus extra guys, and we don't know what they came from.
Right.
So it may be a step down for some of them, but we know what it used to be.
Right. So I'll read this specifically. Nutritionist, dietitian, 66% of players report they get an individualized nutrition plan, ranking the Commanders 31 out of 32 teams. The players feel that their team dietitian is moderately accessible, a ranking of 27 out of 32. What I can tell you is when they come in from practice into the locker room, there are multiple stations of snacks and food, all with, what do you call that? Caloric? Is that the term? Like the calorie information, the vitamin,
caloric intake.
Yeah, like all that information is spelled out. it'd be hard for me to imagine a scenario. Now, granted, there are some physical limitations to the building, but where you had like more snack options and then like kind of recovery drinks and what's the thing I take in the morning? Electrolytes, all that kind of stuff. I wonder if 66% of players reported they get an individualized nutrition plan. Part of me wonders if the other 34% just didn't sign up for it, honestly.
Maybe not.
Because, dude, I will say, like, you see all this, there's a lot of healthy food, but then there's also pretzels. Like, there's also snacks.
I said something yesterday, Jay, about when I would have meetings and guys wouldn't show up, and then later on they complained about information they didn't know.
Right.
If the guys don't sign up for it and they don't understand these grades are to help you get stuff better, you know what I'm saying? Now you might be getting what you want, but you're too damn lazy just to go fill out a form, and then it makes it look like the team is bad. You know what I'm saying? You want things to be in a certain volunteer. I mean, give your time a little bit. So if you want everything to be improved properly.
I am curious what improved so dramatically on team travel. Because they went from an F to an A, and they said 95% of the Commanders players believe they have a comfortable amount of personal space on team flights, ranking them 8 out of 32.
777s and 87s.
What's that?
777s and 787s. You got a lot of room, a lot of space.
Yeah.
You know, when you got all that space, these players are not the average size, most of them.
Right.
And when they were flying before, it wasn't the same type planes.
Yeah.
They were getting them on there. Now you're getting them on there with some space.
Well, and one thing we know is they used to allow lots of folks onto the plane.
They had nothing to do with particularly the exact team, but for other folks.
And they have closed a lot of that off, which also creates more space.
Well, they do that, but when they have enough, they get a big enough plane where they are going to be sitting more to the back,
right,
closer to each other, instead of the players having to, get all close to each other.